The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning this morning, and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Monday, the 6th of July, 2026, and you are on the clock with Erin. Are you sure it's not 1995 Greene? What a weekend, what a week. A week of collapse. In fact, before we get into the show, let me remind you guys of the art show Radical Acts of Publishing that is on display at Ponciana Paper Press, number 12 Parkgate Road, Thursday through Saturday. One of the books produced in the Radical Acts of Publishing workshop is called A Radical Guide to Managed Collapse. A Radical Guide to Manage Collapse. I was so thankful that I took part in that workshop because this last week has been a week of unmanaged collapse. Systems collapse. Starting with BPL collapse, impacting PMH and our esteemed tourism product. Through the week. The BPL collapse, I think it is on Friday, on Thursday or Friday of this week, caused gridlock. We had people, it took like an hour for some people to get from like Blair, Montague, to Government House because of the lack of functioning traffic lights coupled with the lack of common sense exercised by Bahamian drivers in the midst of a power outage. We had BPL collapse, almost causing a collapse of the tourism product, rendering vendors unable to collect revenue on the 4th of July with 6 boats in the harbor. See, y'all literally make us sacrifice our quality of life, our sanity, and coherence for the tourism product, for the Yankee dollar. But you couldn't even keep the power on what may have been pegged as the busiest day of the summer. 6 boats in town. But of course, that's not as important as PMH, eh? It's not as important as PMH. Imagine you telling dialysis patients that they need to call the hospital or their healthcare facilitator, right? Like they got systems, right? Call your team to make a determination of whether you must come in for dialysis treatment, right? And then from Sunday morning, and for many people from midnight, and for some people until 5 a.m. this morning, we had a collapse of BPL. Now, people are going to say it was a lightning strike here, and it was an act of God. We live in the tropics, people. There's going to be lightning. It could be lightning every day. Every day. For some people, their power was out over 24 hours. Now, the people in the West say, hey, we've been experiencing this repeatedly, consistently. And I want you to know, the people in the East have lived this way for decades. We've lived this way for decades, but here's what's new. Here's what's new about the experience in the East. When the power went off island-wide, initially, right? When the power went off, communication services for many people collapsed entirely. See, when we moved to fiber, when I moved to fiber and we got BTC, they told us a power bank came with our system so that when the power went off, you would at least still have your landline accessible to you. First of all, the power bank never worked. Second of all, the company never acknowledged that we were actually supposed to get a working power bank. Now they give you no power bank. So if you don't have a power bank, the power goes off, you lose your landline. And of course, if you don't have a generator, you lose your home Wi-Fi service, which would be cool because you got data. You can rely on data for updates on restoration of power, right? Except for many BTC customers, maybe it was just prepaid, there was nothing. There was no mobile service, there's no phone service, and there was no data service either for the vast majority of the time. In fact, my data service was down the entire time the power was down, all day yesterday. See, I'm a child of the Bahamas, a pre-1992 Bahamas, where your light bill was the same or more as your rent or mortgage. Right? I'm a child of that generation. So now I used to power going off. When Floyd happened, we had no power for 9, 10 days and no water. No, we had no water for 9 or 10 days and no power for about 15 days. But it's when now the telecommunication services go down as well. Because here's what, I still got to work. The people still have to be prepared to go to work on Monday. And what about the people who work on Sunday? Right? There were so many people who were so pleased with themselves, and you should be, because I warn you. I warn you from Agribusiness Expo time, from shortly after the tragic killing of the Pike worker. Get your generators. So some people, they were prepared until they realized that they have power, but still no communication services, no home Wi-Fi, and no data service either. Right? A systems collapse. And then on Friday, we have these two stories pop up. The first is Kalina halts group insurance for hundreds of government workers. I took this from the Nassau Guardian site. And in the midst of this story, right, Kalina halts group insurance for hundreds of government workers, we get this story. BPL union alleges executive victimization of workers. So in the midst of all of this, the public service insurance collapse. The public service insurance collapsed. And how could it have, here's my thing, how could it have collapsed if we've seen, not printed in the newspaper, but not refuted by government agencies or the Office of the Prime Minister or the Director of Communications for said office, right? We've seen internal memos indicating to staff to be prepared because the insurance could be suspended on July 3rd. Listen, one of those letters was dated June 23rd. And another one of the letters references a June 15th date. We're going to walk through, in particular, the last two, the two latter points. We're going to walk through those. But I'm very, very concerned because in the midst, here's why I'm concerned. You're going to say, well, Erin, what more do you have to explain, right? Like, this is concerning enough. See, in the midst of the myriad, the multiple systems collapses, right? We are now faced with a citizenry that refuses to do what they ought to do when they know they ought to do it. So we're also going to have a conversation about the Shirley Street traffic fatalities. Today's Guardian headline, 5th traffic victim dies, right? We're going to talk about that specifically. See, because in the aftermath of that accident, and in the midst of a BPL breakdown, no traffic lights, Bahamians decided that, literally, for some of y'all, literally hold my bear while I go mash up this intersection. Because I care about nothing but myself. What would be fascinating if somebody said, hey, could you hold my cell phone while I try to navigate this intersection? But no. In the aftermath of the most tragic traffic fatality incident in modern history, you're still on the road doing the most foolishness. And it's not just the usual suspects. It's not just your boy Bobo. It ain't Vado, Cado, and Nado. It's your Grammy. It's your bank manager. It's your MP. These are good, decent members of society that just it's like y'all just gave up on the rules. And see, so, I'm a queer revolutionary. What are rules? Well, what are social contracts? Social contracts are the things that we agree upon explicitly and implicitly because we understand that we're sharing this space with other people. Right? In the aftermath of this traffic fatality, if people, big, grown, sensible people, still out here doing the utmost foolishness with their children in the car. In fact, let me tell you something, from the western entrance to Arawaki to Mackey Street, the old bridge, every day the government could collect thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines. Every day. And the usual suspects, taxi drivers, red plates, corporate and commercial vehicles, government assigned plates in the police. All of them. Like the most important part of town, of commerce, town, Bay Street proper. And the tourists act like they've been authorized. The tourists act like their tour guides have told them this is legally a pedestrian zone, but the people refuse to stop driving in it. It's like y'all pumping a silly gas on the cruise ship and in town, in the port, when they come into town, because the tourists act like they don't know how roads and intersections work. And then to turn around. Now, we're speaking specifically to the Shirley Street issue now. I'm saying this with all respect and empathy for the families involved. Mother of fifth victim says mistakes happen as 19-year-old said to be charged over 5 deaths. We hold space for these families as they grieve. But we are also going to hold space for critical thinking and common sense. This is not a mistakes happen situation. Mistakes happen not going to be applied to this one. Now, if you had said to me, this is a Mullings Road situation, I would have said, now we talking. Now we talking. Why? Because there were obvious road works taking place. Portions of the road had been cut out neatly in preparation for patching. There's no indication, there's no public notice of road works in the papers, on social media. There were no lights. They didn't even have the bollards with the fire. There were no signs. There were no reflective signs. They didn't even use reflective paint to spray around the holes. And then it turns out that a number of the people in the car was from the family island. So they didn't even know the condition of the road. They don't even know the road, let alone its condition. See, if you had said to me, this is a Mullings drive situation where the state must be brought to account for its dereliction, its refusal to adhere to the most basic protocols associated with its work. And I say, let's start talking. But maybe the problem we've had with the road safety collapse over the last week following that traffic accident with scores, score is 20, right? With scores of accidents I call write-off accident, that car write-off. You can't drive that no more, the car write-off. Scores of accidents. We've had a complete road safety collapse. And you know what the Minister of Works and the Prime Minister doing? You know what they be doing? You know what they be doing with their time? Like, not when, like now when the Prime Minister has gone to Chogam, the CARICOM heads of government meeting in St. Lucia. No, not that. No. He making TikTok videos. The Minister of Works is making TikTok videos. Not the type of promotional or awareness raising material or content that the public and road users could benefit from. Like not music videos highlighting the next schedule of road pavings and public notices for drivers to avoid these areas and detour around them to avoid traffic backup. No. They making cute little videos like, watch my boss for me while I go do something, please. That's what they doing. Literally and figuratively, that's what they doing. This is not a mistakes happen situation. This is we know that we have a driving behavioral issue on Shirley Street. We know we have a bad road situation on Shirley Street. We know we have tons of events in the summer where the patrons are using Shirley Street. Like, I just don't get it. We know all of these things. In fact, the police know where you all running the red lights and the stop signs. They know where you're parking and throwing your car on the sidewalk. They know where you're on your phone all the time. They know where you're speeding. They know where you're obstructing traffic. But yet I, a regular road user, I must accommodate you breaking the law? This is not a mistakes happen situation. And we can understand, especially if some of the families are related to each other in some way, why this has been the response. But for the sake of others, for the sake of other road users, we cannot just let this be a mistakes happen moment. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller. Thank you for your patience.
Hey, great, Fox. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Good, thank you. How you doing?
I tell you from long time, right? People simply don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You realize people listening to your show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Telling about what's going on and still driving stupid on the road.
Mm-hmm.
How could it be possible, right? After that event, right? And before that event, every single accident that takes place, the car on top of the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't talking about just a little fender bender accident.
Right off.
We're talking about right off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But guess what? I sent you something yesterday or day before yesterday. Did you look into that? Whereas that I think that we need to do it, the road traffic need to install GPS devices with speed, accuracy on every single vehicle. Well, I think we're reaching that point. Two things. I think three things we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Go on.
I 100% sure, Ms. Greene, you're in the third one I have to say about this.
All right.
One, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need more police on the road, right, to ticket these people. Whereas that it'll be tax, that way we can lower the taxes on VAT by introducing higher taxes on tickets.
Mm-hmm.
You realize every single day the government could collect at least minimum $30,000 a day on traffic violations.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how many people listen? You know what? And I get another call. You know what irks me? You know what irks? Like, I love getting old, so I could say these things. You know what irks my soul? Watching a police vehicle approach a red light, right? And then watch them just casually drive over the stop line where they're supposed to stop, knowing that that's a $250 fine, right? And then where they stop their car is in the area designated for pedestrians to cross the road. That irks me. It upsets me when I see regular drivers do it, right? But to see the police do it regularly. When you come to an intersection, and thank you very much, caller, when you come to an intersection, that big thick line that's supposed to be there in the road, if you pass that, that's $250 fine. Burnett Road, Wolf Road, Soldier Road, Village Road intersection, you could collect $2,000 every light cycle. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Erin.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Great. Which is the most important topic? What are we talking about? Because
we're talking about a systems collapse, right?
Yeah,
so I know. Let me just frame it for the audience one more time, because I saw people asking, well, what exactly are we talking about? We're talking about how all of these systems have collapsed at one time. For me, the broader conversation is, it is devastating to me that we just came out of an election that we were rushed into, right? To come out on this side, and these guys just went on a 2.5-month break.
Yeah.
And immediately after them going on a break, we have these systems collapses. For me, I think BPL and PMH maybe, and the insurance, those two are the most important ones.
Okay, I asked that flippantly because we are being distracted, obviously. And before I explain that, Hurricane Floyd, I think you said 99. BPL has come a long way, because I remember we had no power for 3 months.
Oh, wow.
When the power lines went down in Chippenham, they just told us it would be, they had to order the parts, and we were out of power for 3 months.
God bless you all.
We are being distracted because we still, to me, haven't found out the far-reaching ramifications of this drug dealing conspiracy involving top officials in our government.
As alleged by the U.S. government, yeah.
As alleged by the U.S. government. And you have to remember, the finger on the pulse of this nation is the commerce that is provided by our foreigners. And tourism is just a little, it's just a share on top of the clear coat on top of the base paint. The investors come from the U.S. and Dubai and the U.K. They don't do things in tourism, Erin. The billions of dollars, they come and they funnel in from the U.S. So whatever it is that we are being distracted from, and I mean, I share my sympathy and empathy for those who passed in the traffic fatality. I suffered as well with everybody else during the heat. Yesterday's catastrophic blackout, but we are actually being distracted because we haven't heard from any government official yet. I can tell you this. I'll leave with this. I can tell you this for sure. Not one of them can be located right now because they have their phones off, or they're on some remote part of the in the world where they know and they don't care about us. So don't worry about us solving. They're solving the problems for us.
I got
we
you.
We have to solve it for ourselves.
There you go. You're welcome. Thank you for your contribution. Let's prep the next caller. Well, I tell you what, we know that the Prime Minister, Fred Mitchell, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and a Bahamian youth ambassador, along with other senior government officials, are in St. Lucia, gearing up or in the midst of the 51st regular meeting of CARICOM heads of government. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Greene.
Good morning. Blessings. How are you doing?
Yeah, I hope that the meeting comes up with something innovative and productive. The meeting has been going on too long without far-reaching effects that are tangible and visible for the Caribbean people, all right?
Boy, look here. You know what a federation is?
Well, of course.
So a federation is what Caribbean states tried to form or formed, and it sort of quickly dissolved, right?
Yeah,
but
I did O-level history, Erin.
A federation is also a Caribbean term for like a cacophony, like a combustion, right? And I believe that's what's happening at that CARICOM meeting right now.
Yeah, but they gave reasons for its failures. But, you know, the thing is, as it relates to the total collapse, or if no perhaps, to all the chaps, right? Unfortunately, we cannot debunk what she's saying if we don't work the BEC, because there's something called indirect surges and side flashes in which, even though they may have lightning rods, etc., and protective devices within the plant, the power plant, because of the amount of power or current in the lightning itself, it can actually arc or surge and affect adjacent sensitive equipment. This is something. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, so here's our thing. No, I don't think anybody is doubting that, right? Like when I say, come on, do you have protocols to protect from, right, lightning? That's not the part. This is the part. See, when you get up consistently, repeatedly, regularly, right, and respond to media questions, opposition questions, and questions from the general public.
Readily.
Right, about the energy reform, about the way forward, about matters that are arising. When you consistently respond to those requests for clarity, information, transparency, and answers with trite, disrespectful engagement, when you respond by calling people stupid and incompetent,
What?
right? When they're asking basic questions about something that is obviously not clear, and hold on, and then your response is not just that y'all are obviously incompetent or stupid if you can't see what we see, but somebody said boldly, ain't gonna be no outages. BPL got this. We are ready for this. See?
Yeah, but your last caller made it very clear that they don't care about us, and so it's actually visible now. But for me, something very frightening was said on the radio when the Traffic Association or some entity along those lines on the radio with somebody last week, either Dwight or
it may have been the Driving School Association.
Yeah, but you know what was frightening for me? They said that there were adults coming in who didn't have driver's license, et cetera. And so this is quite clear, because I see where let's say I'm heading west and somebody's heading east, and the car is intruding or protruding on their side of the road, but they seem to think that they have the right of way. Like they have no sense. Like the car is stopping them from passing, but they will come on your westbound lane with speed and without due care. And I'm seeing too much imbecility. So there has to be a lot of people riding around with no license. They don't know how to use the roundabouts. They don't know the rules, the basic rules. So it's just free for all. Give thanks. Yeah.
Absolutely. And see, we got a couple of situations going on. Coming to the next caller right now. We got people who've never gotten a driver's license, never gone to a class. Then we have people who go to a couple classes and feel like they straight and they could drive without a driver's license. And then we have the people who go to the driving class and still can't really make sense of what they're supposed to be doing on the road. And then we got a few who they do everything correctly and get on the road and still do whatever they want. I'm witnessing far too many driving schools in lessons and outside of lessons just doing the wrong thing, like turning left on red where you're not permitted to do so. And for God's sake, I'm coming to you right now, caller, the law says that you must treat the red light like a stop sign. You must come to a complete stop. You must count 3 seconds. You must look both ways, and then you go. But y'all treating it like you treat stop signs, and like how y'all treat young girls. You just run right through them. Good morning, caller.
I must say pleasant good morning.
Good morning,
Ms. Greene, because yesterday I was caught up in it. Let me start, but I'll just give you a little history. Let me start. Give me the moment here.
I can't not this morning.
Hold on,
give me the
please.
history.
First of all, let us pray that we have power and everything for Independence Day so we can celebrate independence.
Why? We might as well.
Okay,
we might as well get the 1973 experience. But go on.
Ms. Greene, first of all, let me say, I hope we be able to tell each other Happy Independence Day on Independence Day. Yesterday was a bomb. I always say, you got to have pride to live in pride. Mm-hmm. I don't normally say nothing when I hear everybody talking about the power outages, because normally the power don't go out. We live right next to BPL, Blue Hill Road Power Station. But yesterday morning, I heard when the generators went off. I said, oh, this could be a long one.
Yeah.
So I say the first thing to do, Ms. Greene, I need to go out there, drive around with the dogs in the car and use the air conditioning in the car because I can't take heat. So I say, let me go to Chinese place and get me a 6-pack. This could be a long drive.
On a Sunday?
Yeah, but I don't normally drink when I drive. If somebody's driving the car for me, I'll be in the passenger side having a beer. So yesterday I got between my best way. Then I went to BPL right here in Blue Hills. So when I pulled up there, here's this car pulling up the park. There comes out the engineer. I asked him what it is, what's the big. He said, they just called me in. It's my day off, and my family home suffering, but I got a generator home. He said, Sparky, I think this could be a long one because none of the engines on. They called me in to bring one on so I could try to bring on the rest.
Sparky, I really, listen, there's a part of me that want to hear everything you had to say just now, every single thing. But there's also another part of me that thinks that maybe, even though the boy may have known he was speaking to Sparky, he didn't know that you may have said everything he was going to say on the air. I won't give them that. So forgive me, Sparky, because you see me, I has upset plenty BPL workers. Oh, and water and surge workers, I upset them. I get under their skin. They can't, I see it on their face. When I driving past their site and I looking at them to see if they have on slippers or if they have on proper steel toe boots, whether we can get some reliefs soon and it could be sustainable, right? So let's give us some grace and let's not repeat what the engineer told you in semi-confidence. Good morning, caller.
Hey, how you doing, Erin?
Hi, good, thank you. How you doing?
As usual, the best and the best, and you cannot beat that.
Man, thank you. I on the station with the best.
Listen, please repeat that to these Bahamian people again. You cannot turn on red on your left unless there's a sign that says so.
Yep.
Paradise Island has one. There's a couple there on Thompson Boulevard has one. But yet they still blowing behind you. They're turning on red on the left. Tell them stop that, please.
Yeah. It just, and see, because here's the thing. You see when the women say mistakes happen, right? You would think that people treat accidents like that. Oh, Lord, I caused the accident. I got insurance. It was a mistake. I could take care of it. No. First of all, the people will look you straight in your face and say, who hit your car? Your car get hit, eh? Somebody, you had an accident, eh? As if they didn't just hit your car.
And Erin.
Yes, sir.
But listen, let me talk on that here.
Yeah.
This is why I want a Bahamian to come sign petitions or something. You know how long it takes your vehicle to get fixed? You know why, Ms. Erin? Because the court allow them. Listen to me now, because I just came to the court last year. Allow them. You got a $3,500 damage. And all they can say is, I only could afford $100 a month. The courts need to change that. They are inconveniencing that person. That person probably got to drop their kids to school, their mama to the hospital. They got to catch bus. They got to stop this nonsense and let these people allow to say, I only could afford. Why is they having fun? Your car is in the garage trying to get fixed.
Why would you
have insurance?
Right.
The insurance need to stop with it. See, the insurance is going to favor that because they don't cough from no money right away. You understand?
But hold on, what you mean? Hold on. What you mean? See, here's my thing. If the man is saying he could only afford $100 a month, that means he didn't have any insurance. You see? Because the insurance is supposed to pay for it. It means that either he didn't have any insurance or he needs to take his insurance agent to the insurance association authority. Yes.
You have to investigate it. Trust me, Erin. The insurance company, you have to go to them to say, look here, I damaged the person's car. It cost $3,500. You see, the insurance don't want that. So that's good. What these people want me there? They don't want the insurance go up. But you inconvenient me.
Yeah, you could better claim on that insurance.
Have a blessed day, Erin.
Absolutely. See, mistakes happen only means something when you have insurance. And your insurance is going to cover it. But if you get in a car knowing that you don't have any insurance because you either are not insured to drive the vehicle you're about to drive or you don't have a license, thus you wouldn't be covered by the insurance attached to the vehicle. You get in your car knowing that, then you must know that if you cause an accident, that you're responsible for it. And you must know that there is no insurance to take care of the person that you injured or the property that you damaged. Let's go to the phone line and then we got to go to the text line. Good morning, caller.
Good
morning, Miss Greene. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How you do?
Good. I lay down this weekend and I was thinking about something.
Mm-hmm.
We have a road traffic department, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the Ministry of Works is responsible for the road, the paving of the road.
Mm-hmm.
You think it would make a difference if road traffic be responsible for the roads?
No.
The paving of, make sure the road is properly striped, make sure the road is properly paved, make sure all of the signage.
Well,
the Ministry of Works is responsible for all of that, but we still have a ministry.
Well, here's what
road traffic.
Here's what I presumed, right? That road traffic within the Ministry of Transport would identify to Ministry of Works the areas that need attention in a formal process with whatever statistical or evidentiary like evidence needed to justify the expenditure, right? That the road traffic should be working with the ministry, and road traffic police in the Royal Bahamas Police Force should be going through all of the accident reports, right? To determine whether, because when the police go through the thing to determine who's at fault, right?
Yeah,
and in that assessment, they may determine that, look, you see the new bridge, the entrance to the basketball court, right next to the new bridge. There was an accident there 3 days after the Shirley Street crash. And I told my audience, I used to go to Hammerheads to watch the accidents.
Yeah, I heard you said.
Right, like you could be out there and just watch the cars pile up on each other. And at some point, they realized that they needed to change the road itself.
But Ms. Greene, let me say why I said I think that. When Mr. Lundy was at Water and Sewage, he seems to be a hands-on person.
Yeah.
We all of those leaks and all those, he used to have them under control.
Okay.
He had them fixed. They give him a name, the Han and Kimber Brigade.
Okay.
He had a crew pull up, and he don't leave till the backhoe or whatever needs to fix that comes there. I would give him a chance at some streets.
Yeah,
and let's see if he can. Not saying that the minister now isn't doing the best he could with what he has, but let's give Lundy a try at some of these streets with striping and stuff, and let's see what Lundy can do.
Okay, so let's shift some of the work or responsibility to road traffic and see if Lundy, given the massive scope of the Ministry of Works portfolio already. I appreciate that.
What comes out of that?
I appreciate that. And I like Lundy. He's extremely articulate. If Glennis Hanna would take A.D. Hanna's PLP and Leon Lundy to someplace where they'll flourish, I'd love it. But listen, don't mind me.
Do what?
I said if Glennis Hanna Martin would take A.D. Hanna's PLP and Leon Lundy to someplace where they would flourish, I'd be happy.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great idea, sir. I really appreciate that. Good morning, caller.
How you doing, Ms. Greene? C. Allen Johnston.
Good, thank you.
It doesn't matter who is what department you put it under. They should have a record of what needs to be done across the Bahamas. The individuals in those departments don't come out and pay themselves. They delegate who's to do it and pay for it to be done. The problem is that we basically are lacking the resources to build the Bahamas the way we want to, because we haven't built the economy the way it should be. Ms. Greene, do you know that lying requires is a participatory environment?
So you mean
if I lie to you, it requires you to participate because you must believe.
Right. So like if somebody tells a lie in the forest and there's nobody around to hear, is it really a lie?
Right.
Yeah.
So we have accepted the untruths, half the truth, half a truth is a full lie. And so what we have is we've been lied to for probably for decades. But do you know Grand Bahama is the lightning capital of the Bahamas?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's almost tied with Andros, right? And the point in making that is that you don't have outage from lightning strike. They have arrested, and there's a strategy based on lightning strikes. There's a science behind lightning strikes, and power companies actually prepare for these type inevitabilities. And so, for me, if they want to claim a lightning strike happened on New Providence, they would then have to explain the failure of their strategy
and the protocols,
in dealing with it.
Yeah.
And so it's not a surprise that certain power plants and certain things attract these lightning strikes. And so what it comes back to the overall thing, is that we have no strategy for any energy generation in the Bahamas because we don't have the resources that is necessary. And so what we do is we do a happenstance planning. And I just challenge everyone to, the next time the ministers speak, don't have the song by governance. Let her release the way they did that dump.
Yeah.
Release the gap analysis. Release the cost analysis. Release the time that it's going to take and the KPI so we can actually follow and know what we have to do. But
see,
we have
Alan,
to also do that for the road.
You're right. And you talking plenty sense, but I have to go now because I want to crack a joke between you and my next caller. See, because I believe in BPL and I believe in my BEC workers. Photovoltaic lighting. That's what it stands for. It used to be by extra candles. Boy, listen, if I tell you what BEC used to mean and what BPL means now, however, it don't mean that anymore because I believe in them. I believe in them so much, I don't want to hear none of this scurrilous thing about these people incompetent. This had to have been a direct energy weapon strike, okay? It's not my good BPL. Them people up there, direct energy weapon must have hit my good BPL, especially after my good Minister of Energy saying ain't nothing gonna hold us down this summer, except maybe sweat. Let's go to the phone line, and then I got to get to the texts. Good morning, caller.
Once again, Miss Greene, can you imagine driving the streets in Nassau with the lights out and you hitting potholes? What you think happened to your front suspension? Yesterday, like I said, after with your encounter, I said, let me take a long drive. I left Blue Hill, went up Prince Charles, went all the way to Yamacraw. You couldn't park on Yamacraw, because it hit everybody in the water. Then I came down East Bay Street, all the way down to the airport. I said, let me go for a long drive. By the time I reached, the light will be on. I came back in the Pride States, light was on. As soon as I got inside, turned on the TV, light went off again. I say, back in the car, I going for a ride. I went west this time, and I went all around. When I coming up now, the lights off, it's dark, and all I hitting is potholes. I don't know if the Prime Minister and those MPs who live in our Cable Beach, if they go to work in helicopters, because they can't miss all them potholes I see on West Bay Street.
That's why they mad now.
All right.
That's why they mad now, Sparky. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Listen, let's go to the text. Before we go to the text line, let me say this. Dear BTC, y'all have one customer service technician name. I think his name is Randy. And you have an executive who also facilitates customers whenever she can, Ms. Lori Ramming. They're excellent. They had to deal with me yesterday. Give them a raise, please. Let's go to the phone line quickly, then we're going to get to these texts. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Greene.
Good morning. How you do?
I good. I kind of excited because I think when you briefly spoke about this BPL debacle, right? But what in my mind is I'm thinking now, maybe the grid may be oversubscribed or the demand may have increased due to these EV cars, electric vehicles, that are being now charged directly versus independently, which is probably the truth because now you now looking at these cars came in and it seems as if they didn't prepare to kind of assist the grid versus become a burden to the grid. And what's really mind-boggling, Mrs. Greene, I ain't in the EV car, but after I started to see the troubles the BPL started to encounter, I did my homework. I'm thinking that our Minister of Innovation, we need a new Minister of Innovation because he's adding to the problem as an EV distributor.
Oh, wow. I mean, is there a potential conflict of interest?
Not even conflict of interest. It's just, is he the man for the job for innovation? If you come into everyone knows you come into the industry, you evaluate, you do your feasibility studies, you do your homework. So even if the rookie easy car sales didn't get it, you supposed to be Minister of Innovation, forward thinking, eye open. You tell me you jump into an industry creating the same problems or adding to the same problems that we're trying to solve.
Well, yeah, let's start here. We need an assessment. We need an
Now we
assessment
talk.
of the impact of EVs on the grid, on generation, and in particular areas, right?
Yep.
Absolutely. I don't think this is far-fetched because as far as I know, the neighborhood that I live in, when the power goes off, like we have to call them and make sure that they know that our area is affected. And when we can tell that the power has come on in the general area and it's not come on in our specific immediate area, we got to call them to let them know that too. So it's not unreasonable to ask for these things.
Yep, so because we can prepare. And like I say, we hold people accountable because you can't expect to just come in the business to sell cars, but didn't come in the business to create an alternative to assist BPL with what they're now challenged with and carrying the blame.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
That's my sister.
Blessings. All right, so before I get to the text line, here's some of the headlines. BPL union alleges executive victimization of workers. Our News, 4th of July. The Bahamas Electrical Workers Union says it's growing increasingly concerned about what it describes as the victimization of its members. In the Our News video, what I took from it is that some employees of Bahamian Power and Light are calling for the resignation of BPL chairman Christina Alston. That's Alston with an N and not Alstum with an M. Bahamas Electrical Workers Union President Kyle Wilson alleges he was offered a bribe to, quote, sell out, close quote, the union's membership. Wilson said he formally reported the matter but has yet to receive an outcome and is now calling for the police to investigate the allegations. We had a response from the Ministry of Energy, Utilities, and Aviation that day. Sorry, BPL story was the 3rd of July, that first one. The same day, the Ministry of Energy, Utilities, and Aviation has taken note of comments made today by the president of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union. The ministry will speak directly with the union's representatives to better understand the concerns raised and to determine the appropriate next steps. The ministry's focus is on ensuring that concerns are addressed through proper channels with respect to all parties involved and with the interests of BPL employees and the Bahamian public at the center. We have another statement from Senator Arinthia Komalafi, investigate BPL bribery allegations. And then, of course, the story maybe we'll get to tomorrow. Economic threat, Eyewitness News, 5th of July. Free National Movement Deputy Leader Shenandoah Cartwright says ongoing Bahamas power and light outages are no longer just an inconvenience, but a growing threat to the country's economy. That's not the story that I wanted. It is grocery savings and the Fort Charlotte Family Market. We can talk a bit more about that tomorrow and the government's response to the Kalina public service insurance story. Let's hit this text line. The text says, must say, most of us had Wi-Fi with Alive. The power bank lasted the whole time our power was out. Hold on. What are you talking about? Because I have Alive in my house. Just set up. And the Wi-Fi was never on. Do I have to opt for the power bank? Do I need to go back into Alive and ask them where my power bank is? Yeah, because you have to have both to survive in this country. See, that's why I thought it was a total collapse. Little did I know that some Alive customers get power banks. Here's another text. The text says that's the progress they asked for, so let them suffer in peace, and the innocent will suffer for those who voted PLP. Nurses and EMTs in the medical field don't get insurance, so as we watch to tend the people government now treating like us. Morning, Miss Erin. Majority of the roads need to have those stop lines and stop signs first for motorists to adhere to. What are these ministers doing? You can't hear nothing from them. Oh, they start vacation day, Erin Lundy doing TikTok, talking about catching crab to transport from island to another island. See, here's the thing, dear road users, and I know that this is exactly what's happening. People are frustrated that the public infrastructure is not being maintained. But here's what your problem is as a road user. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Before you get in your car and you choose your route, and while you're choosing your route, you're supposed to know where you're going and what the public infrastructure is that exists. Even if the stop sign is knocked down, a stop sign there's still a stop required at that intersection. You can't get away with saying, oh, there wasn't no stop sign there. Are you a child? Are you immature? Do you not have the capacity to operate a motor vehicle? If there is no sign, you treat it like a stop sign. Is there? You see? If there's no sign visible, you treat it like there's a stop. You can't just say, I minded the government so I could do what I want. No, where are the adults? Another text, Erin, why did the government... Oh, Erin, I finally decided that I will not get an electric vehicle after this blackout over the weekend. I need reliable power. This is unacceptable. Why did the government allow Pike to install these new power lines and galvanized steel poles throughout Nassau? Or was it just for show? I thought it was supposed to prevent all these power outages and give us reliable electricity. We're going to get into that as well because... What's Pike done? Were they done? Notice how Julian did not speak about BPL, that's PLP. He wanted to say trolls. No, man, listen, the man had an excellent contribution. That was an excellent contribution. I appreciate it. It was positive, and it was a interesting solution. Erin, the clouds rumbling again. They're going to turn the light off. It's pre-2000s. Did y'all know when we grew up, we knew if you hear lightning, the power can go off. Mommy, why the power going off? Because they don't want it to get struck by lightning and then it off for real. That's why. Oh, y'all are going to love living in the New Bahamas. So when you talk about grocery savings tomorrow, please put it in context of this man having at least 20 million. Oh, the number of contracts he has and the amount of money generated from them. We have no clue what's happening. Text, I can try hit all the corners in the grocery store, eh? Thank you, producer. I hear you. We're out of time. Thank you, callers. Thank you, texters. Y'all be safe and be sensible on the roadway, please. Have a great day. Guardian Radio AM is up next.
Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.